Good luck, you guys.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my video channel, whatever, just hey. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to want to trace your pattern. This pattern is the simplicity pattern. I will put it on the screen. After you're done tracing it, you're going to want to cut your pattern pieces. Then you're going to want to go ahead and cut your fabric. That's the only reason why I do it this way, is because I am still learning, and as I learn, I don't want to ruin my patterns. I want to make sure that I can always go back and reference to them and make any changes and adjustments. Yeah, so here I ended up making a mistake. I was feeling the music too much. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you should. I actually shared what happened, but I kept moving the fabric around, and then I realized that it wasn't going to work. It wasn't enough in whichever way I put it. So I went ahead and just cut it into two pieces, and then added a 0.5 half an inch of a centimeter, half an inch to the middle part, so that I can go ahead and sew them together to create the one piece. Also here I am putting so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to choose two different fabrics. You can use a solid color for one side and a pattern for the other, or you can switch it up and use two different patterns that are cohesive together, and you're going to want to cut the same amount of pattern pieces as the other. It's only 3 pattern pieces, so it's 3 blue pieces and 3 design fabric pieces. Then you want to go ahead and read the instructions. Cut ribbon in half on outside of front and side back. Center end of each piece over small dot with raw edges even. Base to keep ribbon from getting caught in the lining stitching. Pin to garment with safety pins. Why is it telling me to do that? And where in the shiznits am I supposed to get this ribbon from? So that was a surprise on the pattern, and before you even start, you want to go ahead and don't be like me and actually read the pattern so that you don't get any surprises, because as you are beginning to sew, certain things like that will actually catch you off guard, and then it'll confuse you. At least it does for me. So I went ahead and found some ribbon in my drawer. I cut the ribbon in half like the instructions said. I didn't understand why I needed the ribbon, but because I know because before in the past I would skip steps, I don't even care if I don't understand it anymore. I always do what the pattern says, even if I don't get it at the time, because eventually it will make sense. So I went ahead and the instructions said to use paper clips or safety pins to pin the ribbon to the end so that you wouldn't get it caught in the I don't understand, okay? This was honestly, you can just use regular pins because it was confusing and my machine can't go over safety pins, but you need to sew the ribbon to attach it. So it was dumb, whatever. The next step was you're going to go ahead and stay stitch both of the necklines. So all you did now is place the safety pins on the ribbon on the side. Then you're going to go ahead and stay stitch the neckline, and now you're going to go ahead and press the shoulder seams on both pieces. You can use chalk to go ahead and use the measurement that the pattern gives you to iron it. So you want to iron them, press them, whatever floats your fancy, however you want to call it. Feel free to also press pause throughout this video so you can keep up with the sew along. Once you're done pressing both shoulder seams, the instructions say to trim the axis, trim about half of that. So I went ahead and did that, and I pressed them one more time just so that they would be nice and crisp. And I went ahead and did it to the other side. And again, it is stay stitched at the neckline, and I used chalk and my ruler to measure out the exact amount that I needed to press. Take your time with this, listen to some music, iron, read the instructions, follow this sew along, press pause, because it's, even though it's only 3 pieces, this can actually become very confusing, because you need to remember like what you are able to sew, and everything starts from nothing. So make sure to take each step very serious, you know. So now that I'm done pressing, I am going to go ahead and put the, like this. The next step was to go ahead and put them face forward. So you want to put right sides together, and you want the inside to be on the outside for right now. And you're going to go ahead and pin it all around the edges. You want to make sure everything is nice, they're matching. And you're going to go ahead and leave about 3 to 4 inches of space so that you can go ahead and turn it inside out. So you're not going to want to sew this. I even use chalk to remind me, no sew. Once everything is stitched, you're also not going to stitch your shoulder seams. So you're going to stitch on the side seams all the way up through the arms, through the neck, but not your shoulder seams. You want to make sure that those stay open along with the 4-inch space that you pinned, okay? And now once you're done sewing it, you're going to go ahead and do these cuts, these triangle cuts, because if you don't do this, your fabric is not going to have a nice, clean, crisp finish. It's going to look really not awesome, and it's not going to be able to be worn. It's not going to look good. Test it out for yourself if you need to, but make sure that where the arms are going to go through, along with the neckline, along with the bottom hem, that you do this. For the bottom hem, you don't have to do it that much, and on the pictures it shows maybe like 3 or 4 triangles. If that's the look you're going for, then go for it, but it's not ever enough triangles for me, so I always add more cuts. Make sure to clip your corners as well so that it can be nice, sharp corners, and then you can go ahead and turn it inside out like a pillowcase. Take your time. It's kind of a struggle. You don't want to rip through the seams either. And then finally, when I turned it inside out, I understood why the ribbons needed to be there, because this is what's going to tie in the back. Because the dress doesn't have a zipper or buttonholes, it's going to have ties in the back, because that's how the design is, I guess, and it's actually really, really cute. And I actually turned it inside out because of the safety pins. I didn't sew the straps in. So I had to seam rip it. I have to attach them, and then I had to re-sew it. Don't do what I do. Learn from my mistakes. Just do it the right way, how I explained it, okay? And now what I did was I'm getting ready to iron it. So before you press it, you want to make sure you pull it as much as possible so that you can have that nice clean line. The reason why you want it is, again, the more patient you are with ironing and taking your time when it comes to fabric or making an outfit, it's going to look that much cleaner. The next step, so now that we ironed the front piece, we're going to go ahead and put that to the side, and now we're going to sew the real straps, the second pattern piece. Remember, there's only three patterns. There's only three pieces, okay? It's really six, but it's whatever. So you should have 4 of the straps because you cut 2 of each design, and then you go ahead and sew them, and you leave one side open. Before you turn it around like a pillowcase, make sure to trim again the axis and clip your corners. If you don't do that, it's not going to have that clean finish. Remember, we know that it's homemade, but we never want it to look homemade. We want it to make it look like we bought it somewhere like Macy's or something, and then we want to stunt it like we bought it. And then when people ask like, "Oh, it's so pretty, where'd you buy it?" Like, I didn't buy it anywhere. I made it, And then that's the wow factor you want whenever you make anything homemade. You'd never want to shoot for it to look like it's homemade. As you turn these straps inside out, it is kind of a struggle. So if you have the right tool to turn things inside out, I don't know what it's called, then you can use that. If you don't have that tool, go ahead and do like me, or a paper clip at the end and turn it inside out. A paper clip, a safety pin, I get those two confused. I used a marker and it worked. It was a little bit of a struggle, but I got the hang of it and it still worked. Remember, you can always press pause to keep up because this is time lapse, so this took me a couple days as well. Also, press them. Press your straps. Everything that you sew, you want to press. If you don't press it, it's not going to look awesome. So make sure to press it, okay? You want it to look awesome. Listen to some music again, Sewing should be therapeutic. It shouldn't be a stressful situation. If you have to walk away from it, walk away. Now that both pieces are ironed, the instructions said to stay stitch the top. They are stay stitched about 0.5 inches, half an inch. I'm just going to say half an inch. Now we're going to get the back piece. This is the piece where I got mixed up. So your piece will not have a stitch in the middle. We're also going to go ahead and stay stitch the necklines, both of them. Your piece will not have that seam in the middle like mine, so don't pay attention to that. Don't get confused by that. Mine just has that because I messed up, okay? So now that I stay stitched that, we are going to go ahead and iron it. We're going to go ahead and iron the shoulder seams. Again, I'm not using a ruler for this part because I already showed you guys in case you did need to use a ruler, in case you didn't know the inches or the amount that you needed to fold over. Then you can always use your ruler. And also, if you don't know the measurement, like if it says 3/8, 5/8, then that plate on your machine, you can always take your measuring tape and measure from the needle to the 5/8 line of your machine on the top plate, just to see just so that you can see the 5/8 on measuring tape. Just so that you can understand, because again, I'm a visual learner, so sometimes seeing it that way really helps with how you can, figure it out. So now that I ironed the shoulder seams, I went ahead and placed these straps on the marking that's on the pattern, and I again put them face together like I would a pillowcase or sewing a pillowcase, and I went ahead and pinned everything. And on this piece, the back to front piece, so these are named weird too. The back to front is the one it's the back piece, and the front to back is the front piece, because the front piece goes all the way to your back, and that's the That's the strap that I didn't know. The ribbon. Oh my God. That's the ribbon that's going to tie all the way in the back. Okay. So this one is going to tie in the front, and we want the strap that we cut with the fabric to show in the front. So the back piece to front. Now I did the same exact thing. You're going to sew it all the way around, and you're going to make your little triangle cuts all in the curves, and then you're going to leave about a 3 to 4 inch opening at the bottom. In the front to back piece, the front piece that's gonna be in the front part of your child's body, that one, had you close it, do a slip stitch in the side. This one is going to be on the bottom. I show a clip of what a slip stitch is, but I'm going to go ahead and link videos down in the description box because they show them and explain them a lot better than I did. I'm sorry, you guys. I just don't have the right angles, and I'm not able to hold my phone the right way to show you guys properly. And the other videos that I will link in the description box will be able to show you guys how to do it, okay? Here I am removing the pins from the dress. I am also, if you don't have a lint roller, use a lint roller throughout the steps because it makes your pieces look that much nicer. Take the time to take care of everything you sew because it will last you a lot longer than if you just sew it real quick, okay? And then you can see that the shoulder seams are left open, and I'm going to go ahead and iron it. Again, take your time with ironing it. Make sure to pull everything out. Here I did the slip stitch already. It's not perfect because I am still learning, but I did it. Now it's time to sew both pieces at the shoulder seams. So this is where they get connected, and I made the mistake of sewing all the way to the top. So make sure that when you're sewing, when they're inside out and you're sewing the neckline and the arm pieces, make sure to leave don't close it all the way to the top of the shoulder seams because it's going to make it that much more difficult to be able to close them and attach them together with a slip stitch. This part was confusing for me, so if you are a beginner to sewing and this could be probably your first pattern or your third pattern, know that this was hard for me too if it is for you. Again, I made the mistake, so I'm just ripping some seams and it hurts my soul. But yeah. Okay, so this is what I made. It's not perfect, but I think I got the hang of it. Again, it is not perfect, but I think I got the hang of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what I did. So what I did was I cut this really, really small, like as small as possible. This one might not come out as the other one, I don't know. And all I did was I stay stitched this, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew it like this. I'm going to hand sew it like this so that it doesn't come out. I'm actually going to see if I can do it by the machine. So I went ahead and re-sewed it through the machine. So first I sewed it across at the top as a stay stitched. Then I flipped it over. I folded it in. Wait, no. Yeah, so first it was like this out with the stuff, and I stay stitched it across. Then I flipped it over, folded in that stitch, and then sewed across. Okay? And now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to start slip stitching this. So yeah, the shoulder seams were really hard for me to understand. The instructions weren't easy to understand either, just because there's a lot of stuff that I still don't understand when it comes to reading sewing patterns. So if you feel that way, you're not the only one. And in here is where I figured it out, and how I figured out the slip stitch to do the connection for both pieces. So just stay with me, and you guys will see, okay? And remember, there's going to be videos linked below to help you guys with the slip stitch, okay? Okay.
We're going to, my hand is like shaking. We're going to grab a little bit of the folded side, okay? Dang it, oh my gosh. We're going to, and now look at what happens when I pull it. You can't even see it. See that? That is what I'm going to do. One more time. Okay, Dios mío, okay? So you just, see, this is the top. I'm going to flip that, and I'm going to grab it from the inside, and now I'm going to pull. Watch. And it closes it. See that? It does not look the nicest, but I'm trying, and you're trying, and that's all that matters. Now I'm going to listen to some music, because there is no way that I'm going to be able to do this without music. Okay.
Thank you guys again so much for watching my video. Once you attach the shoulder seams together, this is what you get. That's it. That is all you gotta do to make the dress, is just attach the shoulder seams. Yeah. But thank you guys again so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day, week, month, and year. Do a spin. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Bye.